What voices are you listening to these days? Sometimes I listen to hers. It's my sweet friend Hala. I am asking this question because we are constantly hearing tons of voices, tons of noise, both in our heads and out in the outer world, right? And there is an extremely important need for us to find our true voice, find what is truly worthy of listening to, find what needs to be tended to, which my whole work, if you've been following me for a while, you know it is all about awakening our inner wisdom, tuning into what we already have within us. We really do have what we need within us. There are a few things that I want to point out here. One is, what are the voices that you hear and sometimes mimic? Like, I notice myself, how many of us have said, oh my God, I sound just like my mother or just like my father or whatever it is, right? And maybe we can almost hear the voice of an old teacher or a parent or something like that coming out of our mouths or showing up in our heads. And maybe it's a voice worthy of listening to, but a lot of times when we notice it, there's usually a cringe that's like, oh, why am I paying attention to that? Or why am I sounding like my mother or my mean teacher or whatever it is that we're kind of remembering. That's usually, it's those memories that kind of trigger and make us notice that that's not really our voice. Or maybe we have a voice that's saying things because we think that's what other people want to hear, or we think that's what's going to make us be in favor with others, or we think that's what's going to make us look good, right? Let's face it, our lower ego, our lower nature often wants that. We want to feel like we know something, like we're right about something, like we're not a problem, or there's nothing wrong with us, etc., right? But here's the thing, the more we keep listening to those other voices on autopilot without bringing the awareness and the consciousness to what is truly our voice, our inner wisdom, our unique place and point of view and position, then it's like we're listening to these inner demons almost, or saboteurs, or suppressive voices that keep trying to take us away from our sense of empowerment, right? As women, we have certainly been through centuries, millennia really, of having our voices suppressed, of having things pushed down and ignored. And the feminine is rising. The feminine voice needs to be heard. And of course, the feminine is in everyone. It is not just women, but the women have a really strong access to it. Sadly, there's just a lot of fear to actually speak it, to actually trust it, right? So part of the ways that we can learn to trust our inner voice, one is we've got to stop listening to those other voices. So we have to simply say, thank you very much, not for me. But then we have to kind of reassure the parts of ourselves that think we have to listen to those voices. It's almost like there's an inner child, there's an inner wounded person, etc., that is feeling like we have to listen, or we might get hurt again, or we might be attacked. There are even these inner parts of ourselves that we carry forward from our ancestry, from our history, maybe past lives, who knows what it is. But we need to reassure those parts of ourselves that we've got their back, that it's okay to find a new voice, that we're not going to get burned at the stake because we speak up, right? And another tool is to detach from the voices, right? If we're hearing lots of opinions and things outside, or even hearing old voices inside, how can we step back and detach from that and say, this isn't my voice, and that's okay. I'm just going to be detached from all of the voices and not take anything personally, not feel like I have to, or should on myself, and just listen, just be with that. Another tool to be sure that we're in a good space is to listen to our bodies. What is our body saying? Are we getting chills when we hear something and we know it's the right thing? What is the emotion going on? Are we feeling contracted emotion, where there's contracted fear, or are we feeling expansive? And there might be expansive fear. That's okay. It's not that the emotion itself is the problem, or is even a problem. It's more what's going on with it. What is the emotion telling you about that voice or what you're hearing or what you're noticing, right? When we hear the truth and when we speak the truth, it does not need to be defended. It simply is. We don't have to justify ourselves. We don't have to explain ourselves. We don't have to try to, soften the blow when we say no to someone, or we have a boundary that we need to uphold, or we need to speak up. Speaking the truth is it just is. We don't need to defend it, right? It needs no defense. And so when you hear the truth, often you can feel a truth in it. It resonates. It doesn't need to be justified or defended. So look for that. And often that voice of truth is the softer voice. It's usually the louder voices that are the ones that are the saboteurs, that are the ones trying to push us down and keep us in a state of feeling less than and like things are impossible, like we can't do things, right? And we want to just really honor that when we are speaking, right? And when we're listening, we are looking for truth. We are wanting to be in truth. If we find ourselves spinning, over explaining, trying to justify, trying to sound good or look good or whatever, then we're probably missing a certain amount of our own inner wisdom, our own inner truth. So I hope this helps, that you are able to take these tools of not listening anymore to those saboteurs or inner demons or, should on you voices. Reassure the parts of you that feel like they're supposed to listen to them, or maybe have been trained to listen to them. Detach and step back, and then listen to your body, listen to the emotions and notice what's going on there. And then look for truth, listen for truth that doesn't need defending. All right. We need your voices. So get out there and speak your truth. Know that it's okay to speak up and seek what you know is possible in all of this.